what's in my head. I got a voice inside that needs to be fed. It's causing chaos everywhere I land. I got a fever. I got a fever.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Ohio Sports Talk. I am your host, Doug. Jordan will be along shortly. They had practice run a little long, after the tough loss the other night. The guys had to regroup, so a couple later practices. He will be with us shortly. Loaded episode for you guys tonight. We're going to be talking Ohio State football. We're back this week. We've got Akron. We're going to be talking Reds baseball. The disappointment continues. We're going to be talking FC Cincinnati as they took a tough one on the chin against Miami. And then we'll be talking Guardians baseball as they make the push for the pennant and deeper into the playoffs. We'll see where they stand as we speak. So lots and lots to talk to about tonight. Very excited to be here with you guys. Hope you guys are having a great night. First things first, if you need a fantasy football league, we still have ours. We have a couple spots open still. It is a $20 buy-in PPR league. We're going to draft this coming Sunday. We would love for you to join in. Jordan and I are super excited to play fantasy football with you guys this year. So please stop in, check it out. We're going to have a fun year. So if you need a fantasy football league, don't be scared to reach out and ask. We would love to have you. Next thing on the docket, we potentially have a guest joining us on Thursday night. We are really looking forward to that. We'll have some more details when Jordan joins at the end of the night, but looking forward to having another guest on the show as we get ready for football season, baseball coming to a close before the playoffs. A lot of things happening in the sports world, so we are extremely excited on that front. Let's get into it a little bit, though, guys. Ohio State has their first game of the year on Saturday. Obviously, Akron. We know the results of this game. We know Ohio State outmatches Akron in almost every way, but there's things that we can look for in the game. And I know Jordan's going to want to touch on this, so I'm not going to go crazy on it, crazy overboard, but I'm looking for a couple things. I want to see how Will Howard commands the offense. I want to see how we handle some of the backups. Is Will Howard going to play the whole game? Is he going to play, 2 quarters? Is he going to play 3 quarters? I'm very interested in see how we handle the quarterback play because it did take longer than I expected for Will Howard to be named the starting quarterback. But I don't want to look too much into that. We are playing Akron, 3:30 at the Shoe, 49.5-point favorites. This should be a bloodbath. But, we still have to try to glean things and pick up things from the game as we go along. So I'm looking forward to seeing Judkins on the field. I'm looking forward to seeing Henderson on the field. I'm looking forward to seeing both those guys on the field at the same time. I'm also looking forward to seeing Caleb Downs in an Ohio State Buckeyes jersey. I'm going to probably end up buying his jersey before the year's out. I'm sure that is one of the highest selling jerseys in college football right now. Super excited about him joining the Buckeyes and being a Buckeye. That's like a pipe dream type guy joining the team. So huge news for having him on the Buckeyes this year. Other than that, linebacker, I think we're pretty solid at linebacker. I do expect to see a couple guys rotating in and out, keeping everybody fresh because there's not really anybody on Akron that worries me out of the running back position. As long as everybody does their job, keeps everything in front of you, not a lot to be worried about in that realm. Quick shout out to Jenna. Let's go. Feels good to have Ohio State football back. 100%. It feels incredible for the Buckeyes to be playing this Saturday. We wait, we battle through all summer. We get the crumbs, we get recruiting news, we get all those things to kind of supplement us. But now we're finally back. We have football, and it's only, 5 days, 6 days away now. Depends on how you count the end of today. Super excited. Akron, hey, I still want to see good football. I don't care who we're playing. It still matters to me. I still want to see the guys play. Cannot wait for this weekend. We're going to touch on this a little bit more when Jordan gets back from practice, but I'm going to go ahead and give my score prediction. I think we win. I think the Buckeyes win. I'm going to go 59-7. 59-7 will be my final score. So if you have a prediction for the Ohio State Buckeyes game, drop it in here. 59-7. I would love to hear what everybody else thinks the score is going to be. It should be a great atmosphere. First time back in the shoe. So many different factors. Will Howard's first game in the shoe. Caleb Downs' first games in the shoe. Quinshon Judkins' first game in the shoe. A lot of firsts on this Saturday. So let's handle Akron. Let's put a beat down on them, and let's get ready for a great season. I'm really excited about Ohio State football. Just would love if Jordan could get home from practice and support me on this, because I know he was excited to talk about the Buckeyes, and I know he has a lot to say. But let's keep it moving here. Also, let's talk a little bit extra college football. Lot of good games this weekend. A lot of good games. The game I'm probably looking forward to most this weekend, besides the Buckeyes game, an obvious choice here, but we get to see Georgia versus Clemson in the first week of the season. I have Georgia covering. They're 13.5, 48 total points. I have the over in total points, and I have Georgia covering. I think Georgia is going to be very, very difficult for Clemson to stop this year. That should be a very fun game. Another low-key, below-the-radar type game. That's going to be a fun one. Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. Not under the radar, but people probably assume that Notre Dame just kind of roll over. They got Riley Leonard in at the quarterback. Texas A&M, stupid talented still. They have a better coach in place for the team. We're not getting all the usual Texas A&M hype. I think this is a year where they could maybe really contend and push teams in the SEC, because we don't have the hype that we get caught in with them every year. It feels much more refreshing when we don't have to hear about how great the recruiting class is from Texas A&M. So that'll be a game to definitely look forward to also. Loaded weekend of sports. Tell me what game you're looking forward to besides the Ohio State game. I know we're all excited about the Buckeyes being back, but is there any other games that catch your eye that you'll be tuning into throughout the day? So let me know what you guys are seeing. That Sunday night, that Sunday game, USC versus LSU. Don't sleep on that one either. That should be a fun one also. A lot of nice ranked games early. We get to see USC get tested. Welcome to the Big Ten as they go play LSU. We'll see what USC has for a team that is as talented as LSU. All right, we'll talk back about the Ohio State Buckeyes here in a little bit when Jordan gets back. For now, though, we're going to transition. We're going to talk a little bit of Reds baseball. The Reds, guys. You know, we say it. Inconsistency. And it's been the motto of this team and this franchise for a long time now. We just don't get the consistent baseball from this team. We get these great performances, these big high scoring games, and you're like, why? Where is this? Where is this every game? And then you get these piss poor performances where you can't score a run. You know, got blanked by the Pirates game 1, got beat 6-5. Then we come out and we erupt 10-2. We have a lead late in the game. In game 4, we blow on a Grandal walk-off home run. Alexis Diaz. I don't think Alexis Diaz should be the closer next season. I think his time has come and gone as the Reds closer. I think they should have tried to trade him at the deadline and try to get a piece to go with him. But obviously the front office saw it to be a little bit different. The coach, Jordan Maxson, is here. Jordan, how you doing, buddy?
Doing really good. Busy Monday nights. Thank you for everybody for being a little bit grateful and a little bit patient and ready to rock. I see we're talking some Reds. We're talking some Alexis Diaz. That blown save the other night against the Pirates really kind of put a bad taste in my mouth, among other things. But Douglas, speed me up, and let's rock it, brother.
So, yep, Jordan, we'll touch back on Ohio State here at the end. I know you didn't get to talk about them, so we'll keep that moving. But we're talking about the Reds. We're talking about the inconsistency that we've harped on all year. We're talking about Alexis Diaz blowing that save. I also wanted to touch on Ohio Game Talks. Thanks for tuning in with us, buddy. I'm done with Alexis Diaz also. I think he is a solid reliever, but I think I've seen him enough in that closer position to know that there might be something better available long-term. What are your thoughts on the closer situation for the Reds, Jordan?
I agree with you, Douglas. If we're not going to move him, I definitely would put him as some kind of relief, either like a 6th, 7th inning guy. But if we're going to move him completely, get some pieces, either get a minor leaguer or just straight up do a swap. There's plenty of teams around the league right now. I would definitely look at the White Sox and their closing situation and see if we can't pull something in our favor there.
Yeah.
They're going to have a fire sale at the end of the year. They have the worst record, I think I read, in the last 20 years. So that's a team I would start
crazy.
with. It was something astronomical, but
Right.
but yeah, I would start there and I would work my way down. And teams that are on the cusp of maybe making minor roster adjustments. I mean, Diaz has value, so to give him away for nothing would be absurd to me. So we just kind of take it for what it is right now, and hopefully he kind of makes that little rebound. If he's not in our long-term plans, start while the iron's hot.
Yep, no, that's totally fair. What else are you seeing from the Reds? Because, like we said, we know they're inconsistent. We know we're the Reds. They're 5 games below 500. The season's pretty much over. What are you wanting to see out of the rest of the season, Jordan, that makes you potentially feel any better about going into next season?
Well, if we're selling off the season, Doug, then it's time to call up some of our AAA and AA affiliates and get some of these guys acclimated to the big leagues. So as painful as some of those games might be, it's time to get some of these arms going. It's time to get some of these young talents, get them some hitting practice at this point. Let's get them in the box. Let's see what they got and do a complete roster evaluation from top to bottom. And whoever's not making the cut right now, make this kind of the preseason of next year. I hate saying it that way with this many games left, but let's chalk it up for what it is. The Reds, like you said, and we've said all year, it's too inconsistent. It kind of looks way out of reach. These other teams that are on fire, they're not going to give up that wild card spot. We've been managed into the toilet, so let's just bring these guys up. Let's see what these guys got and make a complete evaluation on who we're trading, who we're keeping, and who's going to be in the long-term plans, and sign Ellie Deli Cruz to the fucking contract. I think that has to be priority number one before the season officially closes. So get him secure and just kind of build the team around it.
Yeah, definitely. Things I would like to see personally, I would like to see Rhett Lauder, which we're potentially going to see him probably next series. He is our top pitching prospect right now. We know Chase Burns, the draft pick, will obviously slide into that spot once Rhett Lauder gets to the bigs. But I would love to see him pitch. I'd like to see how he does with major league hitters to close out the year. I would like to see, David Bell fired. It's not going to happen, with this less amount of games left. But I would like to see him fired before next season. I would like to see Nick Krall be aggressive in the managerial hunt if we do fire David Bell, which you never know. I doubt that probably happens also. I would like to see, some of these outfielders that we keep plugging out there. I would like to see Will Benson sit down to AAA. I would like to see some of these other guys sit down to AAA or cut if possible, because I don't think these guys can be on the team next year and us have any different expectations. We know that we're going to have Ellie is a building block. We know Spencer Steer is a part of the building block. We know TJ Friedel, part of the building block. We know, we know some of these guys are here and they're probably going to be here next year. Guys like Jake Fraley, Will Benson, guys like that, kind of up in the air. I don't know what you do, but I don't think Jake Fraley is worth all the pomp and circumstance. I know he's a fan favorite. I just think his time here in Cincinnati is dwindling. The Reds need to go out and try to make a splash for an outfielder in the offseason. And I wouldn't, there's nobody in the outfield, even TJ Friedel, there's nobody in the outfield that I believe is good enough to not go out and make a splash signing in any of the outfield positions. They're just not good enough to do that. TJ Friedel's health is too big of a question mark. Will Benson is a terrible hitter. Jake, Fraley he's fine. He's a solid hitter. He's a decent outfielder, but none of those guys are good enough to not go out and make a splash to help out your outfield. So that's something I would look forward to before next season also. So it just feels like another wasted season, Jordan. That's what it really comes down to. Another wasted season.
I couldn't agree more, Doug. We have talent on this team, and we've gone circles and circles around it, and we're a broken record at this point. But I chalk it up to what I said last week. There's zero accountability in the organization, And when you don't have accountability for coaching, you don't have accountability for players, and it's going to perform its head out night in and night out. We'll have accountability when, we have lights, camera, action for the big teams, zero accountability for the games that we're supposed to win. And that's why we're a sub 500 team, year in and year out. We don't have any accountability there. And it bothers me. The difference between great organizations and good organizations is accountability when it comes down to it. And I'm going to keep saying that word over and over and over, because it's the damn truth. It's just, It's true. It's damn true, to quote Kurt Angle. So it has to happen. Like you said, I would love to see Nick Kroll and David Bell fucking out the door, but I'm realistic. I think only one of those things are going to happen. Maybe if Barry Larkin, comes into the owner's office with a baseball bat and go straight up Ice Cube on him, maybe we'll get some changes, Doug. But that's a far cry and a hope,
right?
But I just think we're going to be stuck with the same song and dance when it comes to coach and GM. And we'll just, like we said, hopefully they can just bring the pieces in, and next year we can play chess instead of playing checkers.
Yep. Also, I look forward to, getting Matt McClain back is going to be huge. That'll be a major boost for next season. I don't want to see him back this year. No reason to risk any injuries or anything like that. But yeah, Jordan, I feel like, we can't keep beating this dead horse in the Cincinnati Reds. So let's keep it moving, dude. Let's touch on FC Cincinnati. Jordan, the more the season goes on, the more I think that this team's not as good as Miami or even the Columbus Crew. What do you think? I just feel like the FC Cincinnati keeps losing these big games. They keep getting outplayed in these key situations. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is the team that I watched in international play at the break. So, I'm not dogging on the level of competition, but in my mind, I thought the international competition was a little bit faster. The game seemed a little bit, more upbeat and than what the MLS plays. So I thought when we got back here to the MLS season, Doug, that we would see that juice kind of spill over. We would see that cup start to fill on this side of it, because they won a few games during the break, and Doug, this wasn't the same team. So I'd have to honestly check. I don't have my notes in front of me, so I apologize to our viewers, but I'd have to see, who's banged up. Do we not have the full squad back? Is there something that we're missing, post-Olympic play? Because I honestly thought this was going to be better. Even in the loss column, I thought this was going to be more competitive, and it did not deliver. So I'd really have to break it down a little bit again. But Doug, the legs looked tired. We looked a little bit disinterested at times. The corner kicks looked a little unorganized. So I don't really have any answers. What from what you could watch, or maybe some of the highlights that you saw, what's your take on it?
Well, first things first, when you give up 2 goals in the first 6 minutes of the game, you have so much time to get back into the game. I mean, if you look at it, FC Cincinnati controlled the ball 58% of the game. That's a lot of control to their 42%. 8 shots on goal, 16 shot attempts. They only had 3 shots on goal. They only had 5 shot attempts. We had 19 fouls, 4 yellow cards. We had 8 corner kicks, Jordan. 8 corner kicks to their 1. And their goalie made 7 saves. I mean, it was an impressive performance from their goalie for sure. And we just could not break through in the clutch. And that's where you need, your guys to be there. And, Luca Oranello he couldn't put it in. We were missing, a couple key players. It's rough, because I feel like, without Acosta there, the offense is so limited, and they need to have him back as soon as possible. There's just such a difference when he's not on the field. He's got 11 goals for us. He's got 19 assists. You can see a huge, huge difference when he's not on the field.
They're missing their general, and that's
of course.
Their field general's not on there, and That's what I saw. I'm glad you alluded to the corner kicks because I thought that some of them just looked flat out lazy, Doug. I'm not taking anything. These guys are professional athletes. They got there, through hard work and dedication. But at the end of the day, they didn't look like they had a pop. They just, if that makes sense at all, in soccer terminology, they didn't look like they had just that swagger. It almost looked like they expected not to make it at some points, and that just can't happen when you're out shooting them like that. It just, credit to their goalie. I'm glad you brought that up too for Miami, but
He played
but
great game.
but the FC is better than that. I'm going to kind of go to the opposite thought. I think they're as good as advertised, Doug. But one player shouldn't make that much of a difference. But in this case and scenario, in this young franchise, it does. I don't think they really know how to win without him. They figured some things out, like I said, at the break, but they just came out in MLS play, and that's not the flat lined energy that you want to see. And 2 goals in the first 6 minutes, that was kind of alluding to, and they just looked disinterested, like they just it looked like a scrimmage, Doug, to me, not a game of importance, with both Columbus right at our heels about to take us over, and us trying to stay on top of Miami. So I was kind of overall kind of disappointed.
Oh, I was extremely disappointed. That's the biggest game of the year, and you get beat 2-0, and they scored the first 2 goals in the first 6 minutes, and you couldn't even put one on the board. Again, Acosta not out there. We know that's a massive issue. They've got Montreal this weekend, 7:30. That'll be on Apple TV. And then they do play the Columbus Crew Saturday, September 14th. That'll be a huge game. So a couple opportunities to keep it rolling for FC Cincinnati. But Acosta, the drink, he is the straw that spills or stirs the drink, and they have not had that guy. So we know that's a massive, massive issue going forward. Jordan, let's talk a little bit Cleveland Guardians, buddy. This team continues to compete at a higher level than our Reds, obviously. We have, hinted, touched on, talked about these guys on and off all year. They've lost 2 straight to Kansas City. We know Kansas City is a damn good team. Kansas City is only 1 game back of Cleveland in the standings. Minnesota is only 2 games back. So we mentioned it, Jordan, in the thick of a pennant race. What are your thoughts?
It just kind of seems like their bullpen is ice cold. We know what their offense can bring when they're on it, but Cleveland, to me, in the games that I've been able to watch, and we're at a market, but I actually get more Cleveland games opportunity because I don't have Valley Sports. But when I see them on ESPN, when they're on Fox, it just seems like their bullpen kind of blows some games. I think it kind of showed that way in the Yankees series. Their bullpen kind of came out and pitched a little bit flat, but their offense is kind of inconsistent too. So not as much as the Reds, but I think that they just I said at the trade deadline that they were like 1 or 2 pitchers away from being just that next level of greatness. So I think their offense just kind of needs it to get it together and carry them through. They have enough pitching that if they put some runs up, and unfortunately, Douglas, it's just going to come down to their offense. And at the end of this race, they have a good solid 2 to 3 pitchers in their starting rotation, but everything after that's kind of a free fall off. And a lot of Cleveland Guardian fans would agree with us on that. So their offense just needs to continue to manufacture runs and hit that long ball, and they'll be fine. But on days that they're cold, Doug, that's when they struggle. So in my mind, if Ramirez and company can continue to get the bats hot, this team's going to be fine. They're great defensively. They're well coached. They have a great infield. They don't make many mental mistakes. And a lot of these games, they come out and it just comes down to the bullpen.
So, Jordan, over the past month or so, they had that 7-game losing streak. Then they won 5 straight. After that point, Jordan, after that 5-game winning streak to bounce back, they are 3-8 in their last 11 games. They are really struggling at this point. They need something to go their way. They are really struggling. Hi, Doug. Jordan, I guess hello. It is football season, Jordan, and these guys are not going to let up, and I appreciate the hell out of them.
They got something right here.
Quick shout out to the Bearded Browns podcast. If you are not following the Bearded Browns podcast on Facebook or Twitter, you are missing out. These guys are fantastic when it comes to Browns news.
I'm missing out nothing.
Really enjoy interacting with these guys. As you can see, they have no problem giving shit to us, and we have no problem giving shit back. So shout out to the Bearded Browns podcast. Jordan, so they got Kansas City tomorrow night in a massive, massive game. You know, like we said, we always thought that this team was probably a pitcher away from really being a serious contender. Because in postseason, you know, a guy can get hot and carry you, but pitching really, really matters game in and game out. And I feel like that's going to be the Guardians' downfall as a starting pitcher and potentially some of that bullpen issues. They have the best closer in baseball in class, but you got to get to that guy. You got to get to your closer and have him give him an opportunity. And there is some Cy Young chatter for him. But definitely the Guardians are just right there, and they just can't get over the hump, Jordan. Jordan, I think this week we save the rest of our Ohio State talk for Thursday night in the lead up for the game. Do you have any news and notes for us before we get out of here tonight?
Douglas, and we skipped over it. You know, Joey Votto just announced his retirement, and we were supposed to kind of touch on it, but we got a little carried away. Last episode, I was a little bit down, but you know, my spirits are back up, and you know, Joey Votto, what not enough great things to say. You know, he was a real staple for the organization. Mm-hmm. You know, he stuck around. We know his injury history, Douglas. You know, I'll never count that against him. The guy was always a locker room guy, a club guy, you know, a guy that really represented Cincinnati in the city well. So I wish him well in retirement. Always sad to see, you know, it was kind of against his own terms. His health finally got to him. The one thing we can never stop is Father Time. You know, as athletes, it's going to get us all. So I just really wasn't, you know, I was wishing him well over in Toronto, and, you know, I wish he would have got a better send-off. So I did feel like he kind of got that Kobe Bryant send-off when it came to health and, you know, not being a part of a winning squad. So just kind of sucks. But really, you know, 10-plus wonderful years here in Cincinnati. And, you know, never a guy you'd never want to see go that way. I hope maybe he comes back and, you know, signs I don't know if baseball does that, you know, maybe we can get him in for a day or two next year and give him like a proper Cincinnati send-off. You know, get him in a Reds jersey on the way out. But, you know, I think that would complete the story for Joey Votto. But really sad to see. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, you know, Joey Votto was a constant for Cincinnati in a long period of unsuccessful baseball. He was here when we made some playoffs and things like that. But he was a constant for a player that you could root for and know was going to be really good all year, even when the team around him wasn't always great. And I always appreciated that about Joey Votto. So it was great to have him in Cincinnati for all those years. Hell of a career. You know, one of the all-time great Reds. I'm not sure if he makes the Hall of Fame, but I think he's got a solid shot. Guy's got a really strong career. So, you know, Joey Votto, he was an MVP for this team. He was, you know, helped to get us back to the playoffs. A player that we'll never forget. He meant a lot to the Reds and everybody in Ohio, in my opinion. So, hell of a player. Going to really miss him. I'm glad he hung it up on his own terms and wasn't told, you know, hey, it's time. That's always big. So, I appreciate that also. So, yeah, definitely shout out to Joey Votto. Enjoy the retirement. Yes. Jordan, we've gone 30 minutes. We know you had practice. We know you know, had things going on. We touched on a lot of stuff tonight. We're going to be back Thursday. We're going to hammer Ohio State. We're going to get prepared for Browns and Bengals football coming next week. That's going to be huge. The Reds will obviously be there to talk about. So a lot going on on Thursday. Have you hammered home that guest for us? Are we going to have a guest on Thursday also?
Yes, we are. We have an organization here in Cincinnati that sends veterans and other folks with disabilities to Bengals games. They're sponsored by some pretty big hitters, Big Play Cincinnati, Garage Beer, among other things. So we're going to bring them on the show on Thursday. They're going to explain their program a little bit and what their mission statement is and their goal. And we're just going to talk a little Bengals with them, touch on that. And it's going to be fun, Douglas.
That's going to be great. And I'm really glad that we're linking up with them and going to have a great conversation. Quick chime in from Wendy. Wendy's favorite player was Joey Votto. She was always a massive, massive supporter. So, tough to see Joey Lee, retire when Wendy was such a big fan. But that's huge, Jordan. I'm super excited to talk to them and get some of their message out there. So if you are free on Thursday, jump on with us. We're gonna have a fun conversation, a lot to talk about, and hopefully we can highlight this great organization and what they do for the community. Jordan. Yep. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna echo you. I was gonna say absolutely.
Yep. So, guys, that's been Ohio Sports Talk. A shorter episode tonight. We're going to be back Thursday and ready to go. We're super excited to be back with you guys live Thursday night at 9:00. I'm your host, Doug. That's the coach, Jordan Maxon, and we will see you next time.